Have you ever been crushed by a rejection, only to notice her glances lingering a little too long, her tone a little too warm, her curiosity about you still alive? It's confusing, frustrating, and even maddening, isn't it? You're left asking yourself, if she's not interested, why is she acting like she is? Let me tell you a secret most men never realize. Her behavior isn't random. Every subtle smile, every fleeting touch, every playful tease is a breadcrumb, a signpost pointing toward her deeper feelings. And if you act now, right this moment, you can shift the entire dynamic in your favor. But here's the harsh truth. Most men panic. They overtext, overanalyze, and chase her approval. They don't see the pattern. They don't understand the psychological game unfolding before their eyes. Rejection isn't a full stop. It's a comma. It's an opportunity masked as disappointment. And if you ignore the signals, if you react emotionally instead of strategically, you'll never see what she truly feels. The first step is understanding her mind. Women rarely act in absolutes. If she rejects you, yet stays engaged, she's giving you a peek behind the curtain, an insight into her curiosity, her uncertainty, her desire to see if you're worth her attention. This is where most men fail. They interpret the rejection as finality. But the truth is, she's testing boundaries, gauging your value, and waiting to see if you'll demonstrate something she can't ignore. You must recognize one fundamental law of attraction. People are drawn to what they can't fully control. The more uncertain she feels about your reactions, the more she is drawn to understand you. If you respond with desperation or pleading, you collapse the tension instantly. But if you respond with measured calm, subtle confidence, and strategic behavior, you activate her subconscious intrigue. You become the puzzle she can't stop thinking about, the question that lingers in her mind long after you walk away. So, take a deep breath and internalize this. Rejection isn't a signal to retreat. It's the opening move in a psychological dance she's inviting you into, whether you realize it or not. The next few minutes, or the next few actions you take, will determine whether she continues to linger or slowly drifts away. Your task is to act like a man who knows his worth, who sees the game for what it is, and who responds with precision, not panic. Because when done right, even her rejection can become your greatest advantage. The moment she rejects you but still lingers, your instinct might scream, "I need to fix this. I need to prove myself." Stop. That is exactly what she's expecting from the average man. The panic, the over-explanation, the chase. If you give in to that instinct, you lose instantly. What you do instead in these critical moments defines the entire trajectory of her attraction toward you. You need to step back, slow down, and execute with deliberate precision. First, control your emotions. Rejection stings. It's normal. But the most powerful men don't react impulsively. They create space between themselves and the moment. Why? Because absence creates intrigue. It gives her time to reflect on her own feelings, to question why she still cares, why she still checks in, why she still notices your subtle presence even after saying no. Your calm detachment makes her subconscious ask, "Why isn't he trying to win me over? Why isn't he chasing me like the others?" That is the seed of curiosity that turns into desire. Next, shift the focus away from her approval. Men who obsess over convincing a woman to like them fall into a trap. The moment you chase, you signal scarcity, a lack of value. Instead, focus on your own life, your passions, your goals, your social world. Be present for her only in ways that reinforce your confidence and independence. She notices when you are emotionally self-sufficient. That pull, the subtle awareness that you are not dependent on her validation, awakens her subconscious interest more powerfully than any plea or text could. Then, communicate with subtlety. When you do reach out, your words should carry weight, not desperation. Short, meaningful messages that reflect your life, your value, and your calm control are far more effective than long explanations of your feelings. Every interaction should make her wonder, what is he thinking? Why isn't he reacting like I expected? Curiosity is the engine of attraction, and your behavior must fan that engine without forcing it. Finally, remember the power of scarcity. Your availability is your currency. When she sees that your attention is limited and that your life continues with purpose and momentum, she feels compelled to match your energy. She begins to wonder if she's about to lose something she didn't even realize she wanted. And that, right there, is the moment when the balance of power subtly shifts from her to you. Not through force, not through manipulation, but through psychological mastery of presence and absence. Now, let's talk about what really makes her linger, her hidden attraction. When a woman rejects you but still acts interested, it's not confusion or contradiction. It's biology, emotion, and subconscious signals all intertwining. Women are wired to test boundaries, to evaluate strength, consistency, and emotional stability. She wants to know, is he someone who can handle uncertainty? Is he confident enough to maintain his value without begging for attention? This is where most men fall short. They react with panic or over-explanation, killing the attraction before it can even bloom. You must understand a crucial truth. Attraction is not about chasing. It's about tension, intrigue, and challenge. Every interaction should subtly remind her that you are independent, high value, and emotionally balanced. This is not manipulation. It's simply alignment with human psychology. If she senses you are secure, emotionally intelligent, and self-assured, her interest intensifies, often without her consciously realizing why. She is drawn to the calm in the storm, the man who does not flinch when she withdraws or hesitates. Use curiosity as your ally. Women are naturally drawn to what they cannot fully predict or control. Share glimpses of your life, your thoughts, your ambitions, enough to intrigue her, but not enough to satisfy her curiosity completely. Every incomplete answer, every subtle hint of mystery keeps her mind engaged. She will start thinking about you even when you are not present, replaying interactions in her head, questioning why she feels this pull towards someone who does not chase desperately. That mental engagement is far more powerful than any text, call, or declaration of affection. Nonverbal cues are equally vital. Confidence isn't only spoken, it's shown. Stand tall, maintain eye contact when you see her, smile subtly, and exude ease in your own presence. She notices these micro-signals more than your words. They signal emotional resilience, strength, and self-possession. When you combine calm detachment with occasional warmth, she experiences a subtle emotional roller coaster, frustration, curiosity, desire, without even realizing it. That roller coaster is where attraction deepens, silently, unconsciously. Finally, internalize this. The moment of rejection is not a failure, it is an initiation. She is giving you a test, a window into her subconscious feelings. How you respond, calmly, confidently, strategically, determines whether her lingering interest transforms into desire or dissipates. Most men panic, react, and lose the subtle psychological advantage she has handed them. You, however, have the opportunity to master this unseen game, turning hesitation into fascination, rejection into magnetic intrigue. The next 24 hours after she rejects you but still acts interested are critical. This is where most men make irreparable mistakes. They overreach, overtext, or act desperate, collapsing the tension and pushing her away. But if you act with strategic precision, you can turn this moment into a psychological advantage she can't ignore. Timing, subtlety, and emotional control are everything. First, create controlled absence. Do not engage immediately, even if your ego screams to fix this. Pull back just enough to let her feel your presence in her mind without physically being available. The goal is not to punish or manipulate, it's to show that your life continues with purpose, ambition, and independence. She will notice the space, and curiosity will naturally pull her back toward you. Scarcity amplifies value, and in her mind, the question becomes, why isn't he chasing? Why isn't he reacting? That question drives deeper attraction than constant attention ever could. Next, subtly demonstrate high value in your interactions. When you do respond, make your messages or conversations concise, confident, and meaningful. Avoid long explanations or pleading tones. Instead, share insights, funny observations, or glimpses of your life that reflect ambition, confidence, and emotional intelligence. Every word should reinforce your self-sufficiency and the idea that your attention is earned, not freely given. Then, engage unpredictably, but strategically. She's watching your reactions, testing your emotional stability. Occasional warmth or humor, without overdoing it, creates a roller coaster of emotions she subconsciously craves. The mix of calm detachment and subtle engagement triggers dopamine in her brain, making interactions with you feel exciting, stimulating, and slightly addictive. She begins to anticipate your messages, your presence, and even your silence, without fully realizing why. Finally, control your internal narrative. Every rejection triggers self-doubt for most men. But your mind is the battlefield of attraction. If you internally panic or question your worth, she will sense it, even subtly, and your advantage is lost. Instead, frame her rejection as a challenge she has unknowingly presented, a test of your composure, confidence, and value. This mindset allows you to move with clarity and strategy, transforming uncertainty into magnetic presence. Remember, attraction is a psychological game, and she's already given you signals that she's engaged on some level. How you act in these immediate hours, not tomorrow, not next week, determines whether she drifts away or becomes increasingly invested. Calm control, subtle engagement, and strategic absence are your tools. Master them, and you shift the dynamic from uncertainty to fascination. Now, let's uncover the hidden levers of attraction that make a woman desire you more intensely after rejecting you, yet staying engaged. Most men overlook these subtle psychological triggers, and that's why she loses interest so quickly. But when understood and applied correctly, they can turn hesitation into obsession. First, leverage emotional contrast. Women are drawn to men who can balance intensity with calm, presence with absence. When she sees you reacting with composed confidence to her rejection, yet occasionally showing genuine warmth or humor, it creates emotional contrast. That push and pull dynamic excites her subconscious, making interactions with you unpredictable in the most enticing way. Emotional contrast is not manipulation, it's the natural law of attraction in motion. Next, embody self-assured mystery. Reveal parts of yourself slowly. Do not disclose everything about your thoughts, plans, or emotions at once. Give glimpses that pique curiosity, but leave gaps she feels compelled to fill. Every unanswered question, every subtle hint of depth, keeps her mind engaged long after your interactions end. Curiosity is a silent magnet. Then, demonstrate value without declaring it. Actions always speak louder than words. Show her through subtle behaviors that your life is rich, purposeful, and independent. Whether it's passion projects, social adventures, or even a calm, self-contained presence in a crowded room she notices. The subconscious picks up on this immediately. She feels the contrast between her emotional volatility and your stable, confident energy, and that tension fuels attraction. Another critical trigger is selective attention. Respond in ways that reinforce your value. A man who is always available loses allure. A man who selectively engages, who communicates with weight and purpose, makes her feel like she's earning moments of connection. That feeling is addictive. She begins to chase the attention you once withheld, curious to understand why you operate on your own terms. Finally, remember this fundamental law. Attraction is not about persuasion. It's about alignment with human psychology. Your calm detachment, subtle engagement, emotional contrast, and demonstrated value work together to awaken desire that words alone cannot achieve. She begins to wonder why she feels drawn to you despite her initial rejection. She begins to replay your interactions, analyze your calm control, and subconsciously desire the man who doesn't chase, yet captivates. This is the power of subtlety, strategy, and psychological mastery. Applied correctly, even her rejection becomes the very catalyst that deepens her attraction. Now it's time to consolidate everything and turn this psychological insight into decisive action. You've seen how rejection doesn't mean the end. It's a test, a subtle invitation, a doorway to deeper attraction. How you navigate the next moves determines whether she drifts away or becomes captivated by your presence. Start by maintaining calm control at all times. No matter how confused, frustrated, or tempted you feel, your external composure is your strongest tool. Panic destroys intrigue. Confidence builds it. Show that your world is complete, that your value is inherent, not dependent on her approval. This subtle, unwavering self-assurance forces her to reassess her initial rejection. She will start to wonder, why doesn't he need me the way I expected? Why does he seem untouchable? And that curiosity is irresistible. Next, balance presence and absence carefully. Engage when it feels natural, but avoid overexposure. The less predictable your availability, the more her mind fills in the blanks, creating anticipation. Every brief interaction should carry weight. Make her feel the significance of your attention without giving it freely. This scarcity, paired with emotional contrast, warmth paired with detachment, creates a magnetic pull she cannot consciously resist. Then, reinforce value through subtle actions. Let your behavior show ambition, purpose, and independence. Share glimpses of your life that reflect growth, confidence, and self-possession. Not in boasting, but in a way that highlights that your time and energy are precious. She perceives this on a subconscious level, and attraction deepens without you having to declare it. Finally, remain strategically mysterious. Allow her to wonder about your thoughts, your intentions, your world. Curiosity is a silent engine of desire, and when combined with emotional contrast and controlled presence, it triggers fascination. She will replay your interactions in her mind, trying to decode your calm, self-assured demeanor. That's when rejection transforms into magnetic attraction. Now, here's a challenge for you. Imagine she rejects you, but her behavior still signals interest. You have three options: panic and chase, ignore completely, or act with calm, strategic precision. Which choice do you think maximizes her attraction? Write your answer in the comments. If you found this insight valuable, like the video, subscribe for more content like this, and share it with a friend who needs to hear this truth. Remember, mastery isn't about forcing her to act. It's about understanding psychology, controlling your presence, and letting attraction build naturally.